Mr. Ritesh Saxena. He's a CEO and founder of Inaequalis Consulting. He has played an instrumental role in the startup movement in the state of Uttar Pradesh. He is responsible for two startup UP startup conclaves that we had in 18 and 19. Currently, he also serves as the state chairperson for CIMSME and also state director of GCP IT. And he has worked closely with the UP government on one district, one program, one product program. And I welcome you, sir, to this event.
Thank you so much, Kshitij. It's a complete honor of mine to have me on the board. And, I would be really glad to answer all your queries. Besides, there are numerous coming from the startup fraternity, and they want really good, solutions to their problems. So I think this is a wonderful platform, and together we can, make the startup ecosystem development here in UP to be in the forefront, right?
So my first question would be that, as an ordinary citizen, what was your first reaction to the budget?
Well, honestly, it was not that satisfactory, and I think a few scopes could have been there, which could have been much better in terms of if you talk of the macro level, the fiscal deficit has reached almost 6.5%, which is pretty higher in the terms. And I see to the India's ratings in various agencies, be it Moody's and all, it has dropped a bit. So that means that once the your ratings are dropped, your debt or your loan financing, you have to pay a little more. That is a worrisome situation. So India needs to improve on the parameters of improving the ratings so that we can get easily subsidized kind of debts or loans. And apart from that, I would also see that the education industry has been in an turmoil. And if you say it has a cut of around 5,000 crores. So this is a very alarming situation, because at this point of time, I think the education system has to be improved, and a lot of infrastructure processes need to be there. So I think these are some of the setbacks that the industry was not expecting. And apart from that, I think the Sensex and the trade analysts have taken the budget in a good spirit, and I see that there could be a lot of potential in coming days where we could have some more influx of money from the central government, as PM has been already saying about it. So like this budget has been an extension of the previous budgets. So that's my take. It has been just satisfactory. It could have been much, much better.
So, what would be your reaction from a startup perspective? I mean, you are a key player in the startup ecosystem. So, what was, as per you, what was there for the startup and what was not there?
Well, the policies and the program have been there for so long, but it's just that the implementation has been a real challenge. And I see that the Startup India program or the Make in India program have been working effectively at the central government level, but they need to be replicated in the same model or the same fashion here in UP. So uh, it has been a very challenging task. So that way, I see that implementation is the real challenge, and for that there are several reasons we can drill down into those factors. where the gaps could be abolished or removed, uh, looking into various structures or segments and the bottlenecks.
So, I mean, our honorable Prime Minister, prior to the budget, he said that this budget should be viewed as a part of a series of mini budgets. So, what's your view on that?
Well, exactly. This has been a kind of an extension to the previous budgets that we have been getting through the finance ministry, and I would also, point out one important thing that the MSME definition was changed last year, and that inculcated many more enterprises where their revenue size was pretty big. And what has impacted or resulted is that the most of the eligibility or the criteria met to avail these kind of loans or the schemes have actually gone to the big players, whereas UP is now home to 9.30 lakh MSMEs here. So they have actually not got benefited in the bigger sense. They could have been a part of that entire process. And there are around 3,300 registered startups in India, sorry, in UP. But a major chunk of startups have been struggling with the loan financing or the collateral free loans that have been promoted by SIDBI. So still I see to a few problems that the departments here need to have a special help desk for MSMEs as well as the startups to encourage them as well as to solve their queries. And basically this grievance redressal help desk will help the entrepreneurs in in escalating their problem areas. And then it will be real good to have the ease of doing business in UP or be it any other states.
Right. So, one of the key parts, headlines which was there in the last month, it was the Startup India Seed Fund. And so, what's your view on that? And do you see any implementation challenges in that?
Well, frankly speaking, the Startup India Fund is of around 1,000 crores, and UP for UP, the same amount of startup fund is there, 1,000 crores from the SIDBI. And our honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Yogi Adityanath, had signed that MOU last year in May. And so funds are actually not a problem. So it needs deep diving all throughout the state. And I would suggest that a proper implementation of funds could be only done if you have specific centers. Like for example, UP currently have 18 these incubation centers who are actually operational, and only 5 are approved from the UP government. So, like, there's a huge gap and disparity in the system. Like, I've been talking to various startups. So, I came to know across that, in the entire Purvanchal belt, there's not a single incubator. In the entire Bundelkhand, there's not a single incubator which is approved from the UP government. So, if like two of your major belts don't have any incubation center, where will the startups go? And if they are not incubated, they don't roll into the policy of the Startup India, or be it UP startup policy. So uh, the real problem is that you need to have the incubation centers in each and every district. And like once you have these incubation centers, uh, people startups can join these incubation centers, and once they are there, uh, probably they will get the startup policy benefits, which are like the sustenance allowance, which is given 15,000 rupees to each startup if the director is male, and if the second co-founder or is the female, then she can have 22,500 rupees per month as sustenance allowance. So this continues for 1 year, and apart from that, the UP government's new startup policy briefs that that they can have also the 5 lakh rupees of market value. So in totality, they have built a good policy, but it's the real challenges where the incubation centers need to be there, where the CM, Honorable CM, has already instructed the department officials to have the incubation centers. So like we are in plan of setting up 100 incubation centers in UP, and once they are done, and in fact in each district there should be at least one incubation center. Apart from that, if you have to develop the ecosystem, you need to have the service providers in each city, and authorized service centers should be there from the department, so that people can actually look out for these services next to their door. So that will really help the startups, and these authorized channel partners could be CAs, internet service providers, digital marketing agencies, which could run their effective services for these startups or MSMEs at a fixed price cost, and the government has just to authorize them. So that way, the entire ecosystem could be developed and managed, even if in each city they have the presence.
I understand, because I mean, when you gave me the numbers that there are 3,300 startups in the state and approximately only 18 incubation centers, that's approximately 170 startups per incubation center. And frankly, it's not something that can be managed at all. So
So there is a glitch. These 3,300 startups are registered with the Startup India, but approximately only 1,000 are registered in UP government, and in fact a very less number of this 1,000 startups are actually incubated. Many of the award-winning solutions at the UP Startup Conclave have not been incubated, and it has been like 2 years they have not got the incubation. So once these innovative ideas and solutions are not incubated, it's very difficult for them to scale up. And it actually these startups need help at the basic stage, or at the very raw stage. And once that hand holding is done by the government, then it becomes easy for them to scale up things.
so where do you think is the gap? Is it from the startup side or from the incubator side that incubation is not happening? Where is the gap?
Well, the gap exists at the government level, at the department level, where the Department of IT and Electronics need to have incubation centers in each and every district. I proposed the Honorable Minister last year that we should have incubation centers, and for that we don't need to expand money on uh, building infrastructures, setting up systems and desktops, and all these things can be curtailed if we just get the Mahavidyalayas in each district who have a computer lab converted into uh, in an we can have the private institutions uh, also have, they do possess their these incubation center, sorry, the labs, so they can be easily converted. And besides, many more private players are also interested because they do have their infrastructures. It's just that they need to put across all these things together and bundle out. So it would be a kind of 2 to 2.5 lakh exercise per incubation center, and in like around 2 to 2.5 crore we can have actually 100 incubation centers across UP. Whereas if you go for an incubation center development, the infrastructure, the land, and all these processes takes months, and to build that entire process, it takes around an year's time to get one incubation center up and running. And we have numerous experts who can manage these entire exercises, be it IITK, be it IML. So they can offer a helping hand to every time to these incubation centers. And besides that, the mentors play a very important role in startups nurturing. So I had recommended that through Atal Innovation Mission and in the Startup India, we can run the training programs for the faculty who are teaching the computer applications or business administration in various colleges and institutions, to be a certified trainer or mentor. And they can without any extra cost be employed, and they can be a guide to these innovators, which could really prosper the state in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship. Besides that, I've been also instrumental in getting the uh, entrepreneurship as a course in UP government. So Atal Innovation has Mission has been leading this entire process, and I'm very hopeful that their recognized incubation centers will also get into the numbers in near future in UP.
So my last question to you, it has two parts. First would be, what does should the union government do in its next mini budget, like when you talked about SIDBI schemes or something like that, and what should the state, I mean UP in particular, they should focus in their startup policy for 2021?
Well, if you talk about UP government, I would like to answer first of all that they need to bring in the professional experts from the industry as well as the academia on their board. And like I really am amazed with the amount of responses that I've been getting, is that every startup needs funding, and funding to scale up. But there has been a lackluster response, and the VC firms are not here. So basically, I want and I wish if the investors could be managed here, they could be set a tone here, and some events or exercises need to be built by the department, so as to propagate this whole concept of funding, startup funding, especially in UP. Because besides IIT Kanpur and IIM Lucknow, they have their strong alumni base, and because of that and their branding, there's not a funding crunch to them. But here in if you talk of general startups, they find it amazingly very difficult to get the funding. And I think of if you talk of the budget, I think the only challenge that UP has is the implementation of the right policies and the right programs. I think in due course of time, people concerned will definitely take up things, and they are actually doing things. But I understand that government has its own channels and processes which do take a longer duration of time. So probably hiring or engaging experts will curtail down the time taken for all these processes. So I'm very hopeful that in future and presently in this year only, we will have some more jobs, entrepreneurship programs where startups could really benefit. And to be just giving you a fact in terms of figures, like 3,300 startups have produced 22,000 of jobs in UP. So I'm very hopeful that if the startups number increase and their hand holding is increased a bit more, then we can easily achieve 1 lakh job figures this year only, which has been the prime goal of Honorable Chief Minister Shri Yogi Adityanath.
Thank you, Ritesh sir. Thank you for taking out your time. It was actually a very insightful session, and we wish you well for helping the startups in UP. Because I understand that you are doing a really amazing job, and you are actually like the torch bearer for the startup community in UP. So thank you for taking your time out.